Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm here with Plato, bringing you a story from Bounding into Comics. This story is absolutely hilarious, and it is also kind of sad, especially when you consider the people who are involved. You've got the Blue Beetle director on one side, shouting racism, shouting personal grievances with the country of the United States, and he is admitting openly that he is putting his own personal views into Blue Beetle when it releases. A lot of people said that that's not going to happen. It's probably going to be a fun movie, but every sign with this guy, everything that comes out of his mouth, everything he does, it all points to Blue Beetle being an armored vehicle for these personal grievances with the United States. It's just ridiculous. And then you've got the Bane creator, which I don't know if he's the actual creator or if he's one of the writers for Bane for a number of years, which we'll read about. But it says Bane creator Graham Nolan reacts to Blue Beetle director's insane rants, which is what I want to call it. But it's actually the director claiming the character represents American interventionism in Latin America, which audibly made me groan. I rolled my eyes. I'm just so tired of this crap, and you see it every single day now. Every day, it's another thing. Anti-America this, America stole everything that, and just stupid stuff. But apparently, I guess there's an audience for this sort of thing. They love to see this in theaters. I don't. But yes, he is reacting to this. Bane creator Graham Nolan recently shared his thoughts in regards to Blue Beetle director Angel Soto, claiming that the DC villain represents American interventionism in Latin America. In a recent interview with The Playlist, Soto shared his thoughts on Bane while promoting the upcoming Blue Beetle film and detailing that DC pitched him on Blue Beetle after he came to them with a Bane movie. So he wanted to do Bane, ended up doing Blue Beetle instead. But imagine what that Bane movie would have been like, right? Soto shared, quote, "As far as Bane goes, the comics that are about Bane's story, it felt like he's very misunderstood, much like Carapax in the movie. He is a product of his environment, and that history has been buried. The history of the Caribbean, the Antilles, it's a history that's brushed off in history books. So for me, it was very important to be seen," he continued, "because it's all about me, and what people think of me, and my skin color, and my heritage. Forget the superhero film, okay? It's about me and my experiences growing up in this life, okay?" Quote, "And with the character of Bane, the formation of this villain, I think in his own right, he's also a hero in his story. So whatever happens at the end that might have gotten distorted because of what was done to him, I think that what he represents is a lot of the unknown or forgotten or brushed under the rug history of interventionism in Latin America and the Caribbean." And you basically have like the so-so definition of American interventionism above me, the diplomatic and military interventionism of the United States in overseas armed conflicts. So basically the United States being super involved in everybody's situations, everybody's problems, you know. So he wants to be critical of Americans being colonizers. It's the colonization narrative where the Americans are the invaders and everybody else had their land taken from them, all their families ripped away. The evil Americans, the evil whites. I mean, the villain of the movie is literally a white woman in charge of the white industrial military complex, which Susan Sarandon herself admits is being done. So there you go. That's what this guy is trying to push in this movie, and he's admitting it. And I think that he's admitted it in several different ways, several times. He then explained why he believes having this part of a villain backstory is so important. Well, I think it's because he just wanted to make Bane and he couldn't, so instead he made a villain with Bane's backstory to make up for that fact, which is really obvious and kind of pathetic if you ask me. But, quote, "Because we need it. When we're introduced to the world in movies, right, where we are seen as villains, it's just given that we are born that way," unquote. And then quote again, "And when we talk about the history of Latin America, nobody dares to question, well, what happened before? Okay, well, what happened before? More times than none. When you go back even before 1954, what is this dude talking about? What is he talking about? But if we want to go to 1954 in Guatemala, it was U.S. interventionism that drove these places to the miseries that they're in," he said. What? "So I'm not embarrassed to talk about it," Soto asserted. "History is there. Nobody's trying to blame something except white people." Yeah, he's trying to blame white people. Quote, "Nobody's trying to say, it's just like, hear us out, this is our story, and you know what? We can heal together. At the end of the day, we can all heal together, and if we recognize the stuff that has happened in the past and lift each other up in a way that I feel the Reyes family lifts each other up, it's like welcome to our stories, in the same way that We're welcome to other stories. Dude, he sounds like Kamala Harris trying to give a speech right now. Just tripping over himself constantly. The Reyes family did this, and so we might do this because we'll feel welcome. Because feeling welcome is so important. And just like feeling welcome, the Reyes family feels it. It's just like, shut up, shh! What is wrong with you? It's just like, it's welcome to our stories in the same way that we're welcome to other stories. Welcome to our stories, and let's have a dialogue. It's beautiful, he concluded. And so, well, in response, the Bane creator responded in a tweet from Bounding Into Comics, which was quoted by another guy. It said, well, that's a lot of horse you-know-whats. Yeah, that's right. I'm not going to say the curse word, but there it is. Plain as day. Bane creator's just like, what's wrong with this guy? Nolan shared his brief thoughts to Soto's comments on Twitter. First, Nolan reacted to comic book writer and editor Aaron Sparrow's comments, simply writing, well, that's a lot of horse crap. Yeah. He provided more details when asked for his thoughts. By Twitter user HDT885, Nolan stated, quote, too much personal projection. He's correct in that Bane is a product of his environment, but the socio-political extrapolations he's making were never considered during Bane's creation. That's because when they were creating Bane, they were just like, hey guys, let's take this luchador guy and give him like super powered green chemicals that make him ultra muscular and have him fight Batman. They're like, yeah, let's do it. It'll also make certain ethnic groups feel represented. Hey, that's awesome too. Thank goodness it's not a priority or we might have a disaster on our hands. Blue Beetle. And these DC writers, they feel the same way. Too much personal projection. That's all that this guy's doing. And that's all I'm expecting when going into Blue Beetle now. I'm not expecting to see a movie about a kid who gets superpowers who just so happens to come from an immigrant family, okay? Because that's exactly what they're touting in the movie. The entire plot is going to revolve around immigration and how they're going to try and deport his family back to Mexico or whatever because the evil whites said so. I mean, they're going to fight the whites. But they couldn't just do a superhero show where it's just like some kid gets a superhero beetle and it gives him superpowers and he ends up fighting a villain, again, just so happens to be from an immigrant family. But the director doesn't want to do that. He wants to put emphasis on the fact that they're being mistreated by white people because of his personal experiences with white people. So he has this unrealistically awful view of white people and wants to make them the villains in his movie with his personal views, which he also used as justification for his villain's backstory, which he also admitted was just a copycat of the backstory of Bane. This is why I have such a problem with people who don't read these comic books and are just being hired for their ethnic background. This is the kind of messaging that they push, and we're supposed to just sit there and enjoy it. No way. No way, Jose. Nolan last worked on Bane alongside the character's fellow co-creator Chuck Dixon in Bane Conquest, which was published back in 2018. However, since that book, Nolan launched his own comic book universe dubbed the Nolanverse through his company Compass Comics. The Nolanverse currently consists of the horror titles The Chinoo and Alien Alamo. It also includes the ghosts of Matacum Key, an upcoming supernatural story that is currently funding on Indiegogo. I'm actually interested in that because I love horror stories. Horror comics are my thing, absolutely, especially horror movies. Love those as well. But alongside these Nolanverse titles, Nolan also relaunches Joe Frankenstein series. We're going to go past this to the important bits because they're talking all about Nolanverse. At this point, who is going to be going to see Blue Beetle, and what are your expectations if you are going to go see that movie? When I go into this movie, I'm going to expect to be berated and chewed out and lectured for being a white American, because that's exactly what this is touting itself to be as a movie. This is what the director's promoting this film as. He's not sorry about the Batman as a fascist comment. He's not sorry about how he's making people feel. He's not sad about the collateral damage he's causing to DCU and causing to the rest of the cast of the film who actually might have worked hard on it or were really excited about their roles, aka the main character. I don't think he really cares about that, because to these people, it's all about getting your message out, even if that means burning the entire thing to the ground, which is exactly what he and others like him are doing to these movies. It's supposed to entertain. It's supposed to be escapism. It's supposed to be exciting. It's not supposed to be a political message. It's not supposed to be this propaganda piece. You're not supposed to push propaganda in movies. That's not what they're about. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and share it. And if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. I look forward to seeing you guys again next time. Say goodbye, Plato. Meow, meow.